Hi everyone, I hope all is well. My name is Ashanti and welcome to Uniquely Ashanti's Corner. And today I'm bringing to you another dose of vitamin P. It's definitely been a while, or at least I feel like it's been a while since I've done a dose of vitamin P, but here it is. And today's subject is know your limits. And as a quick heads up, this video may be a little bit long. Um, this time around. I usually try to keep these short. Like, I think I usually try to keep it under 5 minutes, but I have a little bit of a story that I want to share with you guys. So you'll want to watch this video from beginning to end when you have time. And also, the story that I'm sharing serves as a continuation of a spoken word piece that I shared on here previously called My Worst Enemy. And I recommend that you go check that spoken word out first if you have not done so already, just so you'll know what I'm talking about. And with that being said, let's get started. Now, what I have come to realize is that going to school, doing extracurricular activities, having a job, taking care of a family, and performing various projects all have one thing in common. And do you know what that is? It all requires you to perform various tasks. You got to get papers done, work on group projects, get that proposal done for your boss, work long hours at school or your job, and the list just goes on and on and on and on and on from there. We have we have a lot on our plates, and it can get really frustrating at times, you know. And what makes it even more frustrating is when we take on too much all at once because we may feel like it's necessary in order to do so, or we are being pushed by someone in our lives to take on multiple tasks. But there is a large issue that arises if we put too much on our plates. This can quickly cause many of us to feel a large amount of stress, which affects us both mentally and physically. We cannot push ourselves to do more than our bodies can take, thinking that we can just psych out all of that out of our minds in order to get everything done. For example, let's consider exercising. Many people who are trying to work out more feel the urge to do the most intense workout in order to lose weight as fast as they can, especially when they have a certain event coming up and they want to fit into a certain outfit, right? But if you are a beginner, you cannot start off at the expert level. Taking that risk can cause you to strain your body way too much, which can leave you feeling way too sore to walk, which I'm sure a lot of us can relate to. I know I can, where I will be working out and then I feel so sore that I'm just like, I just want to lay down in bed. I mean, I didn't try to go overboard, but it's just that my body's trying to get back into the motion of things, you know? But anyway, getting back to my initial point, taking that risk can cause your whole system to shut down from overexhaustion. While it's good to challenge yourself and push yourself to keep reaching your goals, you have to first start off small. Even health specialists say that you have to keep building yourself up before you take it up a notch. And you have some people out here that want to say, oh, forget about that. I got to get this weight off. I got to get back to looking good. Well, let me tell you something. That type of mentality will most likely land you either, no, it will land you in a hospital bed real quick. Everyone has a certain limit of how much they can take on, not just when it comes to exercising, but just in general. And only you can determine what that limit is. I can't tell you what that is, and no one else can tell you what that is. Now, I want to share a story with you guys that I hope will serve as a valuable lesson to you, because it certainly was for me. in my spoken word piece, My Worst Enemy, I briefly mentioned that in fall 2015, I almost ended up in a hospital bed. And I'm sure some of you guys were curious about what I was talking about, which is why I decided to do a separate video. I mean, I didn't get any questions about that, but I figured some people might be thinking to themselves, what does she mean by fall 2015? What exactly happened? So, as many of you are aware, I'm a college student, which can be stressful at times. And in order to relieve myself of that stress, I decided to take 9 credit hours, which is 3 classes every spring and fall semester. And then when it came to summer semesters, I always took 2 classes. When it came time for me to register for the fall semester of 2015, some people in my life suggested that I take 4 classes instead so I can get a little bit closer to graduation. I was really hesitant on it since I have taken 4 classes before and I know how challenging that can be for me. And I know some people out there right now watching this video are probably saying, what? 4 classes? That ain't nothing. What's this girl talking about? What's Ashanti talking about? 4 classes? It's not like you were taking 7 or 8 or something like that. Now, before y'all get ready to tell me how that's the typical workload for the average college student, unless, you know, they're taking 5 classes, which some do, I just want to point out that I have personally come across traditional students who only take 3 classes as well. I'm not the only person who has gone this route, and I certainly will not be the last. Anyway, even though I was skeptical about it, I decided to just follow what people were telling me to do. That semester was different for me because, first of all, I was going to school every single day. The reason why this was so bizarre to me in college was because my other college semesters consisted of me going 3 or 4 days a week. Yeah, about 3 or 4 days a week, or there would be a large time gap in between before I had to go to another class, which gave me lots of time to finish up reading, working on a paper, run an errand, or whatever I needed to do before my next class was to start. And this was all done unintentionally. Trying to register for classes can be a pain in the neck. It was such a pain in the neck. I never look forward to it because so many students are trying to get into the classes that you want. So you guys settle for what's available a lot of times. And because of that, that's how previous semesters were like that. But in fall 2015, I was going every day. There were excuse me, there weren't long gaps in between, and the professors gave us a lot to do. Now, I have no problem with a challenge, but it can be pretty frustrating when you come across professors that act like their class is the only one that you're taking that semester. Not to mention, there were times when deadlines would be very close together, and I had to work really hard to make sure that I met those deadlines in order to avoid having points taking off for late work. And this resulted in me being up late at night and waking up really early in the morning to complete my work. I was so tired all the time, and I was starting to get bags under my eyes. In fact, I was starting to get bags underneath the bags underneath my eyes. This really became a problem while I was at the midway point of the semester. Or I should say when instead of while. I don't know why I said while. When I was at the midpoint of the semester. It first started off when I was getting migraines more often. It became a routine for me to be popping Excedrin migraine pills to treat them, which is not normal for me at all. Even my father saw that this was happening, and he asked me what was going on, and I was telling him about all the stress I was up under, and that's why I was getting more migraines than usual. I was losing sleep because I was constantly stressing and thinking about deadlines I had to meet, tests and quizzes that I had to prepare for, homework that I didn't complete yet. My mind was just going round and round and round in circles. Then one week, it really started to get bad. I had essays I had to write, I had a big test to prepare for, and I'm not even over exaggerating about this, I promise you. Even the professor told us that this test was covering way more material than the previous test that we had. And a lot of students were on the edge about this test. It was so much information we had to digest. It was just so much. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't. I was rushing to make sure that I had all of my notes in order and trying to make flashcards, studying real hard for that test, along with making sure to squeeze in time for the schoolwork that I had for my other classes. I was mentally and physically drained, but I kept pushing myself because I was like, okay, I can't stop, I can't rest, I gotta do this, I gotta get this done. This is what college life is like, I gotta deal with it, I can take it. I kept trying to convince myself of this, despite the fact that my body was saying something else. And during this hectic week, I literally had a migraine every single day. I would take Excedrin migraine, take a little break until my head calmed down, then I got right on back to work. I was determined to make sure that I was prepared for this test. I was so determined that I was going to do well on this test, that I couldn't accept failure, that I was willing to make whatever sacrifices I had to in order for me to get the best grade. And one night, as I was studying, I just got a beaming migraine. I mean, this migraine was worse than the other ones that I had. I was so nauseous. My stomach was hurting really bad, and I had to stop doing my work. I was really starting to feel bad that I missed joining my family in our nightly prayer together. And when I thought my head had calmed down, I got back up and I got right on back to work. A few minutes passed by, and I noticed the migraine starting to come back. But it was kind of faint, if that makes sense. It wasn't as intense as it was before. So I said to myself, hey, I can tolerate this, let me go ahead and finish studying for this test. It's not a big deal. And as I was going over my flashcards, I realized that the cards that I had memorized before my migraine hit, I had forgotten them, and I was just panicking, and I was thinking, what the heck is going on? I had this down pat at first. What happened? Why are you forgetting stuff? Get it together. I was literally scolding myself at this point, and I was determined to re-memorize these cards. My mind seemed really cloudy, and I couldn't even think straight. I knew I was tired. I knew it. And I knew my brain had enough, but I wanted to keep going. I struggled for hours and hours to concentrate, and I wasn't going to give up. I wasn't. I was just being way too stubborn. I started to pace around my room, trying to force myself to think, and then something strange happened. The upper part of my left arm got hard and very, very tight. Yeah. You know how when you go to the doctor, when they check your blood pressure, they use that Velcro thing to, wrap around your arm, and it gets tight and tight? That is the same thing that was going on with my arm, this arm right here. And believe it or not, I got ready to brush it off like it was nothing. I was like, well, I don't know what that is. My arm's probably just falling asleep. Not a big deal. That's why I try to convince myself. And when I was about to sit back down to continue my work, I heard a voice say, "You need to stop now." And I heard an emphasis on the word now. It was very similar to a parent talking to their child. That threw me off guard, and I quickly looked around my room and I was like, where did that come from? No one was there. My whole family was asleep. I quickly knew that was God talking to me. And I literally just snapped into action. I was zooming around the room, getting all the textbooks and flashcards and my computer out of the way, because I knew that if God was talking to me, then it's serious. Okay, I was like, okay, I'm listening. I'm putting everything away now. It was like I just broke out of this trance where I was only focused on that test. Once I put everything away, it suddenly hit me. My arm, this tightness, what do I do? What do I do now? And I automatically turned off the lights, lay down, and took several long, deep breaths to help me to relax. And 5 minutes later, the tightness in my arm released. However, my left arm was very, very sore afterwards. It was real sore. And the next morning, my alarm went off. And when I tried to get up, I couldn't. My whole body was weak. I'm serious. My whole body was just completely weak. I had no energy whatsoever. It was a struggle for me to just lift my head. Even my head felt heavy. So I had to constantly listen to that alarm going off every few minutes since I couldn't shut it off. I was wishing that I had a hammer so I could smash that alarm to bits, because it was really starting to get on my nerves. I laid in my bed awake for I don't even know how long. I was just trying to get up. I was just laying there asking God to give me the strength to get up. I eventually was able to, but it wasn't easy. I was moving like a snail and my legs felt like jello. I knew why I was feeling tired, but I had no idea whatsoever why I was feeling so weak. That was just so bizarre. I was like, why am I feeling so weak all of a sudden? I was feeling nauseous the other night. I just had that bad migraine, but I don't understand how that's connected to me feeling weak today. So anyway, I didn't want to go to school that day, but unfortunately I had to because I had used up all of my excused absences. And a quick side note, I'm serious when it comes to my studies, but things happen sometimes, and that's how I ended up using up all of my excused absences. That's all I'm going to say on that. Anyway, I felt bad all throughout the day. I was moving so slow up and down the stairs, getting to my classes, that students desperately tried to walk around me so they could get to where they were going. I was just trying to be extremely careful going down the stairs since I was feeling so weak. And I mean, one false move and you guys know the rest. So when my classes were over and I was headed home, guess what? I got yet another migraine. After what had happened the night before, I decided to just take a break for the rest of the day, no work at all. I just relaxed when I got home, and the next day I was back to my normal self. That's all I needed. I just needed that day of rest. So when I was well rested, I was completely better, Thank God. Praise God. All glory to God. I wasn't weak anymore. I didn't have any more migraines. The only thing I was still dealing with was my sore arm and the sore temples from all of those previous migraines that I had. That showed me that, like I said before, my body just needed some rest. That's all it needed. And even though I was back to normal weeks after that incident, I constantly asked myself, why did my arm get so tight like that? Why did I get so weak the next day? I just felt like it was something more serious, especially since I heard God talking to me. And I soon found out what that was. One night I remembered a few months earlier that my uncle had a stroke. He was driving and he felt a tightness in his arm, which then traveled to his chest. Thank God he was fine. No serious damage was done. He's fine now. Don't worry. But when I thought of that, I automatically got my phone and typed in the question, can stress cause you to have a stroke? And the answer was yes. Everything just started to click for me and I froze. I remember saying to myself, that's why my arm got tight like that. And the reason why I got so weak out of nowhere was because my body was recovering from what almost happened to me that night. I strongly feel that God brought this realization to me. And when it finally set in, tears instantly fell down my face. I was like, wow. I almost pushed myself to have a Okay. I gotta get through this. Guys, I'm sorry. Just thinking about that got me emotional. I have tried so many times to try and record this video. And no matter how many times I get emotional every single time. I need to get some tissue. I thought I was going to be ready when I did this video. I really did. Okay. Lord, give me strength to get through this video. Guys, I'm sorry. This is really hard. It's just thinking back to that moment in my life. It just makes me emotional. God saw that I was being hard-headed that night, and He stepped in to save me. I am very, very grateful for that. He didn't even have to do that. He didn't have to do that for me, but he did it anyway. He did. He didn't even have to do that for me. That test was more important to me than my own health. And that's the sad part. If it wasn't for God's awesome grace and mercy, things would have went a lot worse. And it's scary to think about that. About what could have happened if God didn't speak to me that night. And I try not to think about it. I can honestly say this experience has taught me a valuable lesson. I gotta get through this video. Guys, I'm sorry. This is hard. This is hard for me. I have tried to practice doing this video over and over again. I have been wanting to do this video for the longest, but it was hard. It was hard. I just kept pushing on because I was like, no, I can't bring myself to do this. And I finally thought I was ready, and now here I am crying in front of y'all. I'm really sorry. I'm not used to being like this in front of camera. This is the first time ever you guys have ever seen me like this. I feel really strange right now. But I need to keep moving, otherwise I'm really going to do like an ugly cry or something. Where was I? Man. Whew. Okay. Like I said, it's important to find balance when it comes to doing various tasks. And you have to listen to your body. Guys, I'm asking you, please don't make the same mistake that I did. Because as you can see from this video, you see what almost happened to me. It is through God's grace that I am still here, that I am here recording this video. All praise goes to Him. What good will you be if you allow stress to completely take over and possibly lead yourself to an early grave? You have to know what your limit is and try to stick to it. In my case, 3 classes is what works best for me. I have dealt with a lot of people who thought taking 3 classes is a ridiculous idea. Mostly because it means that it'll take you longer to graduate. But you know what? I'd rather take my time to graduate in order to maintain my health than to force myself to work harder than I can. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to get through this video. I'm sorry. Y'all have to bear with me. I'm sorry. And then end up having health issues down the line. If other people can handle 4 or 5 classes, then that's great. It is. It really is. But don't look down on somebody else who feels like that's too much for them. You know? There's nothing wrong with a person if they have to take on a lighter load. So many people want to go by the numbers and say, well, statistics show this, statistics show that, you know? And I don't care what anyone says. Everyone is different. It doesn't matter It doesn't make you, it doesn't make you less than, it doesn't make you slow or any other negative thing people can come up with. God sees what you're doing. He sees the hard work you're putting in. And that's what really matters. Don't allow someone to tell you what you should be able to do. You're the one who's in control here. And I understand that trying to stick to your limits might be hard depending on the situation that you're in. Like, if you're pressed for deadlines or you're a parent trying to make sure that your children are taken care of, my best advice is don't be afraid or don't be too proud to ask for help when you need it. It doesn't mean you're incapable of doing anything. Someone lending you a hand is meant to help you to move along, so you're not left struggling. Don't burn yourself out. Try to take small breaks when you can. Even if it's just for a few minutes. That's all you need, just a few minutes. A few minutes is better than no minutes. And on that note, I'm going to bring this dose of vitamin P, this tearful dose of vitamin P, to a close. And I want to thank y'all for tuning in. And I know this video was long, but I had to share this with you. I felt pressed to share this. And I'm not trying to gain sympathy from you guys. I want to put that out there right now. I'm not looking for any sympathy. You guys don't have to say, I'm sorry or anything like that. I did not put this up for any sympathy. It's just that I wanted to share this message to encourage someone so they can learn from the mistakes that I made. Stress is something that should not be played with, and you can't allow it to take power over you. You can't do it. Stress is something that's serious. You have to take it seriously. A lot of people don't take it seriously, and they start having health problems down the line. It is not something to play with. I hope this video was able to help somebody out there. And I'm sorry y'all had to see me like this. I was really thinking when I made this video that I was going to be alright, and then as I started talking about it, I just felt my heart racing, my hands, you guys see my hand is trembling right now. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments if you have any. If you leave a comment, as I always say, please refrain from profane language, even if it's abbreviation, and please be respectful. And again, don't leave any comments saying, I'm sorry, I feel bad for you, because I promise you, I don't want your sympathy, okay? I just want you guys to learn from this, okay? Please, just know your limits and try to stick to it. Don't burden yourself, okay? It's important for you to know your limits, okay? It's important. I don't want to see any comments, where you guys are saying that you're sorry for me, okay? I appreciate your concern, but that's not why I created this video, okay? Just focus on the message that I'm sharing with you. If you have any video requests, then you can leave those in the comments as well, and I will get back to you. I'll get back to you as soon. I'm trying to breathe, okay? I'll get back to you as soon as I can. God bless, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.